Imagine buying into an area before everyone else starts paying attention. Not after the MRT arrives, not after the new amenities are completed, not after prices have already moved, but before all that happens. Because if you look back at many of Singapore's transformation stories, the people who benefited the most were usually the ones who entered early. Today we are talking about Dunearn House, and in my opinion, this isn't just another condominium launch. It's potentially one of the earliest opportunities to participate in the future Tough City transformation story. The question is, does it actually make sense? Or is this another project selling future promises? Let's break it down. Hi everyone, I'm Adrian. Welcome back to Adrian Advisory. If you are looking for straightforward property analysis without all the marketing fluff, you are in the right place. Now, I have been getting quite a few questions about Dunearn House recently. Some buyers are very excited, some things is still too early, and honestly, I can understand both views. So today, let's look at Dunearn House properly and see whether it deserves a place on your shortlist. Let's start with the basics. Dunearn House is an upcoming 99-year leasehold condominium located along Dunearn Road in District 11. This project is expected to comprise around 380 units and sits within walking distance to 6th Avenue MRT station. Now immediately one thing stood out to me. This isn't a mega development, and I actually think that's part of the appeal. Today there are many projects with over 800 units, 1000 units, or even 2000 over units. Dunearn House is taking a different approach. Large enough to enjoy full condominium facilities, small enough to maintain a stronger sense of exclusivity. And if you are someone who doesn't enjoy sharing facilities with 1,000 neighbors, that's something worth considering. But honestly, the project itself isn't the main story. The location is, and that's where things become interesting. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Tough City. Because if you are evaluating Dunearn House purely as a condominium, I think you're missing the bigger picture. Now, whenever I mention Tough City to buyers, I usually get one of the two reactions. The first group will say, wow, this sounds like the opportunity. Isn't it too early? And honestly, both are fair questions. Over the next decade, Tough City is expected to undergo a major transformation. We are talking about new housing, new amenities, new community spaces, new parks, improved infrastructure, especially a completely new residential precinct. Now, if you have followed Singapore property long enough, you have probably seen similar stories before. The details may change, but the pattern is usually the same. At the beginning, people say too early. A few years later, people say, wow, lucky these buyers got in early. And then eventually people say, I wish I had bought that then. Of course, not every transformation story works out perfectly. Nobody can guarantee future outcomes. But here's what I find interesting. Most buyers only become comfortable after the transformation becomes obvious. But then they aren't buying potential anymore. They are buying proven reality. And proven reality usually costs more. And that's why I think the key question isn't, will Tough City transform? The government has already made its intention quite clear. The real question is, are you comfortable buying before the transformation is complete? Because if you're waiting for everything to be finished, you may no longer be buying at today's prices. That doesn't automatically mean Dunearn House is a good buy. The pricing still matters. Execution still matters. But from a location story perspective, I think this is one of the strongest narratives in the current new launch market. Let's talk about Bukit Timah, because this is the second pillar supporting the Dunearn House story. Now let's think about this. Nobody has ever looked at Bukit Timah and said, wow, what a cheap area. That has never been the story. The story has always been quality. When people think of Bukit Timah, they think about top schools, landed homes, the GCBs, the greeneries, the prestige, strong owner-occupier demand. These aren't qualities that appear overnight. They are actually built over decades. What I like about Dunearn House is that buyers aren't betting on an unproven location. They are buying into a district that already has a long track record of demand. The transformation story is the bonus. The Bukit Timah address is the foundation, and that's an important distinction. Transportation is also another major strength. Dunearn House is within walking distance to 6th Avenue MRT station on the downtown line. Personally, I think the Downtown Line remains one of Singapore's most underrated MRT lines. You get direct access to Newton, Bugis, Promenade, Bayfront, downtown. So for many working professionals, that's a good advantage. One thing I always tell my buyers is this: MRT convenience never goes out of fashion. Whether the market is strong or weak, whether you are buying into for own stay or investment, good MRT access continues to support demand. And that's something Dunearn House clearly benefits from. Today, if you are buying for family use, the school story is also something worth paying attention to. Bukit Timah has long been one of Singapore's most sought-after education belts. And over the years, I've noticed something interesting. Parents often tell me they are not just buying a home, they are actually buying into options. The options for school planning, options for convenience, and also for their children's future. That's one reason demand around this area has remained remarkably resilient across different market sectors. Here's what I think separates Dunearn House from many other launches. It's not trying to be everything for everyone. It's not competing to be the cheapest launch. It's also not targeting buyers whose main objective is affordability. Instead, it's targeting buyers who prioritize location quality. People who appreciate a Bukit Timah address, who value exclusivity, and of course those who understand the concept of land scarcity in prime residential districts. And because of that, the buyer profile may be more resilient over time. Now let's talk about something closer to heart. Why some buyers may eventually regret missing this launch. The reason number one will be first mover advantage. Most people become interested after a location has already proven itself. By then, a lot of the upside has already been reflected in prices. Dunearn House offers something relatively rare, a chance to enter before the wider town city story fully unfolds. Reason 2. Future launches may not be cheaper. One reason I see repeatedly is buyers saying, never mind, I will wait for the next launch. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. So in recent years, we have seen plenty of examples where buyers waited, only to discover the next launch was even more expensive. So at times, waiting is not always a strategy. Sometimes it's simply a delay. Reason 3 will be Bukit Timah opportunities are still limited right now. Now Singapore can build more condominiums, but Singapore cannot create another Bukit Timah. Locations with strong schools, MRT access, and long-term demand will remain limited. And opportunities in this district don't appear every day. And now for the million-dollar question, pricing. Because if you have watched my videos before, you'll know I always come back to the same principle. A fantastic project can become a poor investment if you overpay. And a decent project can become a fantastic investment if you bought at the right price. So whenever buyers ask me, Adrian, should I buy? My answer is almost always, it depends on the price. Everything ultimately comes down to pricing. The location could be fantastic, the MRT could be excellent, the schools may be attractive. The transformation story will be compelling. But even if launch pricing becomes too aggressive, so buyers will need to think carefully. The market can forgive many things, but it rarely forgives overpaying. So this is the section I'll be paying the closest attention to once official pricing is released. Now let's look at from another angle. Not every project suits every buyer, and Dunearn House is no exception. If you're expecting immediate transformation, this may not be the right project. Town city story requires patience. If your main objective is finding the cheapest entry price, there will likely be alternatives elsewhere. Bukit Timah has never been a budget location. If you buy only into freehold properties, then this product may not align with your preference. But that's perfectly fine, because every buyer has different priorities. So if you're asking me, Adrian, would you personally keep an eye on this project? The answer is yes. Not because it's perfect, because no project is, but because it combines several qualities that don't often come together. A Bukit Timah address, walking distance to MRT, strong education demand, a relatively exclusive project size, and a major transformation story. Will it definitely become a home run? Nobody can guarantee that, because property doesn't work this way. But based on what we know today, I think Dunearn House is undoubtedly one of the most interesting launches to watch in 2026. And perhaps more importantly, it may represent one of the earliest opportunities to participate in the next chapter of Third City's transformation. So if you are considering Dunearn House and would like the floor plans, pricing updates, stat analysis, or a personalized discussion, please feel free to reach out. Remember to like and follow for more market updates and insights. I'm Adrian. Thank you for watching. And remember, helping Singapore families upgrade smarter. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.